There we go. We're making 2 episodes in one day today. Of changes made to the Bible by the King James Version. By the Joseph Smith translation. I'm sorry. Yep, so there are 6 chapters for us to go over now in this episode. We are starting out in 1 Kings chapter 11. Okay. And this one is about Solomon. And there's just, let's see, verse 6. King James Version says, "And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father." Okay. Corrections kicks in verse B. "And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord," take over, "as David his father did, and went not fully after the Lord." David started out, some Christians like to quote the verses in the Bible describing David when he was first picked by God to be king. And at that point in time, he was righteous. He had a heart like the Lord. But the Bible doesn't say he kept it going, or the verses that might say that are mistranslated. So there's one difference between Latter-day Saints and some other Christians, and maybe some other Jews. I see a lot. There's not a Jewish radio station I can listen to around here while I'm driving to work, but sometimes I listen to Christian radio stations. Yep. So David did not keep following the commandments of God. He stopped, and so did Solomon. Okay. Okay, we got more in that same chapter on the next page. Okay, verse 33 says, "Because they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways, to do that which is right in mine eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father." Okay. So this is the Lord scolding Israel or Solomon. And he said to Jeroboam, okay, this is right after the first king of the 10 northern tribes was told by God that he was going to be a king over them. And this is why they were needed. This is why the kingdom was taken from Solomon and or Solomon's sons. Okay, C. Footnote C. Wow, most of that is right. You get down to the last line, and so did not keep my statutes and my judgments. So they weren't keeping the statutes and judgments, and then, "as his heart is to become as David his father, and he repenteth not, as did David his father, that I may forgive him." So Solomon was not repenting of his wickedness. Okay. 38. "And it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all that I command thee, and wilt walk in my ways, and do that which is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as David my servant did, that I will be with thee, and build thee a sure house, as I built for David, and will give Israel unto thee." 38 says, let's see, it's footnote B, which is how far through that verse? There's C, there we go. Okay, so And it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all I command thee, and wilt walk in my ways, and do that which is right, that is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as David my servant," kicks in here, "did in the day that I blessed him, I will be." So it's not, this verse is not saying David always was obedient, but the Lord specifies, "in the day that I blessed him." So when he was a new king, God gave David a lot of blessings, because at that point David's heart was turned to the Lord. He had a heart like the Lord, and he was obeying. 39, and I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever." Let's see. Well, the whole verse starts out different. Joseph Smith's translation says, "And for the transgression of David, and also for the people, I have rent the kingdom, and for this I will afflict the seed of David, but not forever." Okay, that's interesting to note there. We learn that the reason that God broke up the kingdom of Israel into the two different kingdoms was for the people. So he was doing that so not all of the people would be led by evil kings. Well, didn't work out, because God only had sinful people to work with, and some of the kings of the north were evil, but he was trying to save the people. Okay, we're up to verse 13. Okay, here there was a prophet who goes from Judah to up to Jeroboam. I think he was the king of the north, but maybe I'm remembering wrong. But so he goes there, and on the way back to his house, he stopped and talked to a guy. He was told by the prophet was told by God to not eat or drink anything on the way to or from going to bless this King Jeroboam. Verse 18, King James Version says, "He said unto him," this is another prophet who talks to the prophet that just healed the king. "And he said unto him," he being the prophet from that area, "I am a prophet also, as thou art. And an angel spake unto me by the word of the Lord, saying, Bring him back with thee into thine house, that he may eat bread and drink water. But he lied unto him." Wow, is God gonna, is that a real prophet if he's lying? Is God gonna, do that? Actually, so after bringing him back to the house, or inviting him back, here's what actually said. "Drink water, that I may prove him, and he lied not unto him." So this prophet really did get a message from God to invite the other prophet back to his house to eat. And the prophet failed the test and ended up getting killed by a lion in that area. A lion that didn't eat his body, which is usually you would think if a lion kills a person, it's going to eat his body. So that's a sign that was a lion that was killing because God made it kill him as a punishment. Alright. And verse 15. There's a wicked king, a righteous king, and a righteous king and a wicked king. And in the book of the Kings and the Chronicles, it seesaws back and forth. Righteous king, wicked king. I mean, the north and the south. Righteous king, wicked king. Okay, verse 3, "And he walked in all the sins of his father, which he had done before him, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father." So this is making David look like he always had his heart in the right place. This is talking about Abijam. Something like that. Abijam. No, I'm a native English speaker. I see a J, I want to say J. So Abijam. Okay. Joseph Smith translation correction says so. near the end of the verse, it's perfect was the Lord his God, as the Lord commanded David his father. Okay, so he didn't do what the Lord commanded David his father. So King David, before he became wicked, he did get commandments from God apparently to pass down to his kids. 11. And Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did David his father. And it says here, as he commanded David. Yeah. Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as he commanded David his father. So it's not saying David did what was actually written. It was not a proclamation that David always did the right thing, but that this king Asa did the right thing, which were things that were commanded to David. He wasn't following David's example. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who survived his reign that are very glad that he did that. Okay, and we've got 3 in Chronicles here. Let's start off with 1 Chronicles. Or you could call it 1 Chronicles, because the way it's written in most Bibles is just 1 and then the word Chronicles. Chapter 21. Okay, chapter 21, verse... Oh, this is the one that's in the appendix. And God sent an angel unto Jerusalem to destroy it, and as he was destroying, behold, he repented him of the evil, and said to the angel that destroyed, It is enough, stay now thy hand. And the angel of the Lord stood by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Okay, and let's see. Lego legs to mark my place. This is recounting Kings and Chronicles. Sometimes they're about similar events and similar time periods, and sometimes they're retelling you the exact same story. Here is a retelling of the exact same story when King David counted Israel, even though he wasn't supposed to, and there was a punishment made. So, next one. And God sent an angel unto Jerusalem to destroy it. And the angel stretched forth his hand unto Jerusalem to destroy it. And God said to the angel, Stay now thine hand, it is enough. For as he was destroying, the Lord beheld Israel, that he repented him of the evil. Therefore the Lord stayed the angel that destroyed, as he stood by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Alright, what's the difference there? The people were repenting, and that's why God stopped the angel, not that God repented. Okay, 2 Chronicles. I think we're done with King David, and by the time we get to 2 Chronicles, this one's chapter 18. Okay, yeah, Jehoshaphat. He's one of the kings after David. It's easy to know if you're dealing with a king that's after King David, because he went from Saul to David to Solomon. If it's not one of those 3, you know it's the other side of the timeline. Kind of like how if you're not sure when a certain president of the United States of America was president, but it's not George Washington, John Adams, or Thomas Jefferson, you know it came after them, because they're the first. Okay, and we're up to verse 21 of Chronicles chapter 2. And he said, I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all of his prophets. And the Lord said, Thou shalt entice him, and thou shalt also prevail. Go out and do even so. And here the footnote is at the very end, after all the words. So there's a little bit more. For all these that have sinned against me. So God is not going to, when an evil spirit possesses somebody, that's because they sinned. It's not because God is making people get possessed by evil spirits that have not sinned, that weren't choosing it. People that are possessed, in some degree, chose that possession. 22. Now, therefore, same story. This is there's a false prophet that was telling one of the kings that he was going to win in a battle and defeat the Syrians. But he didn't, because the false prophet was a false prophet, and that was an evil king. Okay, verse 22. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil against thee. Okay. But actually, found is the correct word. So, what actually was written was, now therefore, behold, the Lord hath found a lying spirit in the mouth of these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil against thee. God does not need to make a rebellious sinner do bad stuff. That's just what rebellious sinners do. Okay, we're up to 22 now. Here the change is the correction about the age of a prophet. Or a king, not prophet, a king. So let's see, and 42 years old was Ahaziah, when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name was also Athaliah, the daughter of Omri. Okay, Joseph Smith translation correction says 2 and 20. So, the King James translators and or the transcripts that they were using gave this guy 20 more years of life before he became a king than what actually happened. He became a king when he was 22, not 42. Alright, and that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. You have a good day.